It's like 5:15 in the morning, and we're about to leave to go to the train to go to St. John, where the Camino starts. There's Tom, and there's my backpack. We're at our friend's house in Paris. We're waiting for our bus that's going to take us to St. John, where the Camino starts. And as we're sitting here, we realized that we're eating Mexican nut mix. So we're like sitting near the mountains of France, right? Eating Mexican nut mix. And I was like examining where I got stung by a jellyfish last week snorkeling in the Caribbean. And I thought, that's pretty cool. That's interesting. So having a little bit of travel whiplash, but I'm excited. I'm ready to start walking this thing. Okay, we are starting the Camino, and as you can see, it's pretty gray and pretty wet. And it's directly uphill. I'm going to show you. So we're going up, up, up into these hills. Very pretty. There's Tom. So after a 4-hour straight uphill climb, we made it to our first stop on the Camino. But what's been striking to me is last night, the albergue that we stayed in, that's like a hostel on the Camino. The man who checked us in, he talked to us about how this is not about walking, this is not about hiking, it's not about where you're going, it's about the journey, it's about connecting with your soul, it's about connecting with your humanity. And it just felt like this beautiful wink from the universe, because, I mean, all of you know me, you know that that totally resonates with me. So it felt like such a wink from the universe, like you're right where you're supposed to be, which was really cool. And now I'll show you what it looks like after you stop walking on the Camino. Hot tea because it's cold and rainy. Maps. And reading about albergues. There's Tom. We're up in the mountains in the Pyrenees, and we got really lucky and got a private room at the albergue last night. It's basically a little cabin, and I'm going to show you the view. It's insane. Look at this. So last night at our albergue, it's beautiful, I'm going to show you in a minute, but last night at our albergue, they had everyone stand up and talk about why they were walking the Camino. And it was so intense and moving and beautiful. So many people whose children have passed away, and that's why they're here. So many people who had cancer, so many people, I mean, it was just really beautiful. And then people just going through big life transitions. I mean, it was like, whoa, this walk is the energy of this walk. It's like people healing in so many different ways. It's so cool. And now I'm going to show you the view because whoa. There's the albergue and where I'm about to have breakfast. There's the path that we walk on. And look at this. The sky and the hills are so beautiful up here. Look at this. All right. Once again, it is very cold and very foggy. We went 5 miles straight up today. There's Tom. And now we're going down 5 miles. And it is icy, icy cold. Okay, it's our third morning on the Camino. I'm going to show you some things. I'm very sore. I'm not sure about Tom. How are you feeling?
I'm okay.
He's not as sore as me. He's tougher than me. But the thing that's interesting is that there are like 3 times the normal number of pilgrims walking. And so it's been quite busy. We've been very lucky and haven't had any trouble getting beds, but I know some people have not been able to get beds and had to walk on to the next town. So I think if you're going to walk the Camino this year, reserve your beds up to Pamplona. If anyone's watching this, after Pamplona, they say that there's plenty of different albergues, so there's no problem. But up to Pamplona, you might want to have reservations because it's been tight, and it's only going to get tighter as the season goes on. We are in the last couple miles of a very challenging 14-mile day. But I'm going to show you a beautiful view. And as you can tell, I'm like totally dying here. Okay, we are on day 4 of the Camino. We stayed in a little town called Laura Soania at an albergue called San Nicolas. It was lovely. There were so many interesting people. They had wine for €4 a bottle. That's about $4 US at the exchange rate now. So that was cool. Everybody was sharing wine and talking. People from all over, Germany, the US, France, Italy. Really interesting conversations. And today we will go to Pamplona, which I'm very excited to see. Everyone says it's very beautiful. Had such a lovely experience last night connecting with so many different people with a lot of different reasons for walking. But what was interesting to me is there's a very shared, and of course this isn't true of all pilgrims, but I find myself connecting with other pilgrims. People who walk the Camino are called pilgrims. I find myself connecting with pilgrims who are very interested in trauma healing and holistic medicine. And of course, you know, by holistic, I mean mental, spiritual, and physical approaches, right? And so, yeah, I find myself having these great conversations with like-minded people because, again, so many people are here to help themselves heal in some way. It's been really lovely. So we are taking a rest day today in Pamplona. And this is such a cool city. Right now we're walking around the Citadel, which is this like fortress, this medieval fortress in the center of the city. I'll show you a little bit. And then later we're going to have tapas, but they call tapas pinchos in Pamplona. So we're going to go have pinchos and wine. We're leaving Pamplona. It's day 6. Yesterday we took a rest day. It was really nice. And this morning we haven't found any coffee yet, which is a bummer. And I woke up feeling pretty weird this morning, like emotionally. And then I looked in my email and realized that today is a solar eclipse. We cannot see it here in Spain, but in Australia they'll be able to see it. And I'm very into the energy and the moon and how that affects us. So I think I'm feeling some of that today. And to be clear, because I think everything is very multi-layered, I'm also feeling just the aches and the pains of hiking this far, which is a very new experience for me. Not so much for Tom. Tom has done many, many long hikes in his life. But I'm going to show you the very beautiful view, because it is really pretty here as well. We stopped to have a snack. And this little grassy thing next to a really beautiful old church. I'm going to show you. Let's see if you can. Look at that. Basically, the Camino, at least for now, walks through like ancient village after ancient village after ancient village, and we've been stopping in all of these amazing like cathedrals and churches from like the year 1000. It's like amazing. Really, really good. Breakfast most days is something called a tortilla de papa, which is egg and potato cooked into this delicious quiche kind of thing, and then bread, espresso with milk. And today I got a treat. I got a croissant with jamon y queso. Yum, 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 yum. And this is right before we start walking. We're in this really adorable, beautiful, medieval town. I'm going to show you. It's just so nice. Beautiful way to start the day. Okay, so this bridge was built in 1100. That's crazy. Now it's only for foot traffic. Cars can't go over it anymore. Or maybe they never could, I'm not sure. So one of the most fun things on the Camino is you meet lots of new friends. And we are hiking today with some of our new friends back there. Hi! That's Charlie and Bill and Luther. And it's a beautiful day, so we're in good spirits. Okay, so I think we're day 7 or maybe 8. Today we left Estella, which is a really cute, really pretty little city. And we stayed at a really nice place called Alda Estella Hostel. Highly recommend it. It was a really nice albergue. And we passed the wine fountain, which is famous on the Camino. I guess for like 1,000 years, they've been putting out a barrel of wine at this wine fountain for pilgrims. Because when you walk the Camino, you're called a pilgrim because it's a pilgrimage. And unfortunately, we probably got there too early for the wine fountain because it was like 7 a.m. or something and there was no wine yet. But that's okay. We weren't going to drink any anyway at 7 a.m. That would probably make our day pretty tricky. I'm going to show you a beautiful view here. Gorgeous. Okay, look at this view. It's a rainy day, but still very, very gorgeous here on the Camino. Definitely feeling the bumps and pains at this point. This walk is all about surrender. It's so wild. As you can see, I'm in my super stylish poncho because today we are walking something like 24 kilometers, a lot of it uphill, in the cold rain. And it's like you have to surrender every single day to whatever the weather's doing, to whatever the terrain is going to do. It's been a very, very powerful practice already for me. and I'm only 1 week in. I have like 5 more weeks to go. So right now I'm sort of just focusing on putting one foot in front of the other. One of the things I have quickly learned on the Camino is that I'm burning an insane amount of calories every day. And if I'm not refilling those frequently, I start to feel it like really, really hard. So always carrying like nuts, seeds, peanuts, lots of peanuts, sunflower seeds. They have tons of them here. And then along the way, it's really nice because people will set up these little like food stations where you can get like bananas and oranges and cheese and sandwiches. And I just had veggies and homemade hummus that were amazing. But yeah, you really have to eat a lot as you go. That's like one of my number one tips for the Camino so far. Good morning. We are going from Los Arcos to Logroño today. 28 or 29 kilometers. Not exactly sure. We've heard a few different numbers. But what I wanted to share is that it's day 9 of our Camino. And we have a rule when we travel. It's the 3-9-30 rule. So at 3 days, things get a lot easier and you know you'll survive. At 9 days, things become even easier by a lot, more routine. And at 30 days, this is your life. You're totally used to it. So we're at 9 days, and it's funny because before we realized we were at 9 days, we were talking about how much easier today feels. So if you're gonna walk the Camino or do any long-term travel, keep the 3-9-30 rule in mind because it's pretty helpful, keeps you going. We finally made our way to wine country. All of this will be wine. Okay, so this is a non-alcoholic beer, which they have on tap all over Spain. And when we first started walking, I was like, a non-alcoholic beer? Weird. But what I've realized as we walk, because someone gave me this tip who's done the Camino before, is that it is a ton of calories that you can just drink, and it tastes so good when you've been hiking and you just need more calories. We calculated it and it's like we're burning like 4,000 calories a day. So when we stop, I have a non-alcoholic beer and it is so good. Oh my gosh, we had such a long, hard day. Every muscle in my body hurts, especially the ones in my feet. But we got to our hotel room. We're taking a rest day tomorrow and we have a hotel room in Logroño, and it's really cool. It's right on like the busy street where people go for tapas, and we have this little balcony. I'm going to show you. This is a really cool city. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm on a rest day on the Camino, and boy, I'm taking my rest days very seriously. So I'm just recording this from a nap in bed. But one of the things that I'm already noticing that is really interesting is I'm looking back at the videos that I made on the day we started the Camino in the train station. And I can already see that my energy has massively transformed. It's fascinating. I don't exactly know what is going on this walk, but I do know that I'm walking along an energetic ley line that has been walked since ancient times. It predates Christianity by a lot. So something magical is happening here. I'm just not exactly sure what it is yet. I'll update you as clarity arrives. Okay, day 11. We took a rest day yesterday in Logroño, which is awesome because Logroño is famous for really great wine and tapas, which they call pinchos. And so we did a couple wine and pincho crawls while we were there. Had amazing food. It was so good, and spent a lot of time laying around and resting up because the day before Logroño was really long and tough, 18 miles. Today we are going off stage. So the Camino, most of the Camino guidebooks break the Camino into these stages. And if you follow the stages, you complete it in like 30 days. They're very long, they're very challenging. And we've been wanting to get off stage because we have a lot of time. So we decided this would be a really good day to start breaking up the stages because the next few days on the stages are very, very long. They're like 29, 30 kilometers, so 18, 19 mile days. And that's hard on your body no matter what, no matter how good a shape you're in. And we just don't need to do that. So today we are going to a little town, I think it's called Ventosa. There is an albergue that has really good reviews, and near the albergue there is a meadery where a beekeeper makes mead, and Tom makes mead. So he really wants to go and try this mead and talk with the beekeeper, and so it was a perfect opportunity for us to get off stage and do things a little differently on our Camino. Oh, it's a beautiful day here on the Camino, sunny and lovely. And something that has been coming up a lot already on this walk, and we've been doing this for like 10 days now, is letting go and the importance of being able to let go. So today we branched off from the main group and a lot of people that we have met and made good friends with already, because there are some things that we want to see and experience along the way that we feel called to see and experience that will cause us to be on different schedules, because we'll be walking a little slower and taking a little more time than the people that we met at the beginning of this walk. And it's interesting because it's challenging. I find my ego resisting letting go of those people. And I know that the reason that my ego is resisting it is because our ego, our human brain, bases all of its predictions on what it already knows, on what we've already experienced. And so my ego and my brain can't imagine that I would meet more cool, amazing people like the ones I already met on this walk, even though the truth is, who knows? I probably will. But my intuition is telling me, you know, take this other route, slow down, stop at these, like we want to stop at basically every cathedral we pass by, like, you know, stop and see these things and take your time. And it's a real exercise in trust and in being willing to let go, which of course is just like, it's like this microcosm of life, right? This is what we have to do in life in order to follow our intuition a lot of the time. So just wanted to share. So we didn't even know about this, but we are about to walk down the kilometer of art, where there's basically art all along the path this way. And when we planned to go this direction, we didn't even know. How exciting. So this is a pretty standard albergue room. It's basically a few beds. I think this is about normal. 6 people in a room. There's our bed. There's Tom. He's got his cool travel CPAP machine. That shit's magical. Okay, so it's day 12 today. We did a shorter day. As I told you yesterday, we're going off stage, and so far it's been really successful. The village that we stayed in last night had a meadery, and we got a private tour and tasting. It was amazing. And the chef that's helping them open up like a food truck, and they're gonna have like meat and food and all kinds of things at this place. So if you're coming on the Camino, check it out. And then today we stopped at this incredible ancient monastery from like, I think it was the year 1000 it was founded. Anyway, there's a cave. Basically, they built the monastery into a cliff, so there's a holy cave in the back of this monastery. So yeah, this monastery was incredible. I'm going to share some video and some pictures here, and that was in Nahara. So when you're going through Nahara, make sure that you watch out on your right-hand side, walking down the Camino. Basically what you'll see is like, it looks almost like a government building, but there's a silver plaque. And if you go to read the plaque, you'll see that you're at the monastery. And inside of there is this giant ornate church, this beautiful cave. Anyway, I'm about to share it with you. But if you're watching this because you're going to be walking the Camino, do not miss this. It was really cool.
I love this. Deep, complicated, nutty. It's incredible.
Yes, we love mead. We drink a lot of mead. We try it anywhere we get a chance, and this is probably the best we've ever had. Yeah. It's really, really good. I'm so glad that we got to try it. It's delicious. Okay, so I think we are day 13 at this point. We stayed in a little village called Azofra last night. It was really pretty and really nice. And the albergue had this pool where you could put your feet in. It was like this icy cold pool where you could put your feet in because everyone's feet are sore. And all of the rooms were private double rooms in the whole albergue. So that was pretty amazing. And now we are walking and walking because the little bar in town that said it would be open in the morning for coffee was not. So we've not had coffee, but we are snacking, and it'll just make the coffee that much better when we do get it. These flowers smell amazing. It smells so nice. So one of the biggest lessons that I've learned so far on the Camino is the truth that we really, truly cannot predict the future. And on this particular trip, it's really hitting home because I've been planning to do this walk for many years. As many of you know, it was delayed because of COVID, and then it was delayed because I had cancer. And so I've spent a lot of time reading about it, researching it. My partner's already done this once. I've watched YouTube videos. And it's interesting because before I started the Camino, I actually was worried, like, I hope I haven't like spoiled the surprises by doing too much research and watching too many videos. And what's been striking to me as I'm, getting into 2 weeks here on the Camino, is just how completely unpredictable this experience was. I passed by like some monuments, some sites that I saw in YouTube videos, but the experience of this trip was completely unpredictable. It's completely unexpected. And I found that to be true with all the major travel I've done. Including going to Burning Man. Like, when you take a big leap and you do something that you have no experience with, that is all new, you cannot predict it. And this is important because not only can you not predict the magic and the beauty and what it'll truly be like, you also can't predict the things that are going to go wrong. And what I mean by that is all of these what ifs that your brain tells you, they're not real. So all those scary possibilities that your brain is coming up with when you think about doing the big thing you want to do, they're not real. You cannot predict those things. Your brain is just making them up. And when you think about the amazing parts of it too, you can't predict those either. Your brain's just making them up. You actually have to just trust and go for it. Now, I'm not saying that planning isn't a good idea. Planning's a great idea, but recognize that the plan is not going to work. The plan, nothing ever goes as planned. Never. In a single one of my trips has things gone to plan. So you really do have to just trust and go for it when you feel called to do something. So, words of wisdom from the Camino for today. So our albergue tonight is actually in the church. It's they've been serving pilgrims in this church for like hundreds of years. So it's really basic, but really cool. We are walking from Gragnon, where we stayed in the very interesting parochial albergue, which was basically just staying in the church. It was a really cool old church. And we are walking to Tos Santos today. Tom has a bit of a shin issue going, and so we actually had our bags sent ahead today. We decided that we would rather keep walking and let that shin heal rather than taking a bunch of rest days, or we wanted to keep walking without our packs and let that shin heal rather than taking a bunch of rest days. So yeah, something that's nice if you're staying in albergues along the Camino de Santiago is they have a service where you can pay to have your bag sent ahead. Some people walk the whole thing that way. For us, we like carrying our bags. It's like part of the experience. But it's nice if you have an injury and you need to get a little weight off of your leg. It's really nice to be able to do that for a few days. So we're really grateful we were able to do that. And actually, we started off the morning carrying the bags, and then it was really giving Tom's leg a hard time. And so my intuition was like, I heard a little voice like, check for an albergue that hasn't had their bags sent yet. And sure enough, we walked right by the front door of an albergue and there was a big pile of bags ready to be sent forward. So worked out perfectly. And I would just say, don't hesitate to do that. If it's going to mean that you get to keep walking and you don't get injured worse. It's really important to do your Camino your way. So it's day 16. I missed the day 15 update because day 15 was crazy. So Tom has a shin splint I talked about yesterday, but it's been really bugging him. And so we made the decision to go to Burgos and take a rest day so that he can just get off of that leg. And then in Burgos, I lost my wallet. It fell out of my backpack, I guess. And obviously this is a big problem because we're in Spain, and I looked everywhere. I asked around to all the stores, no one had found it. And then last night I got a message on Facebook from a Spanish man and actually he turned out to be a Colombian man who found it. His daughter found it in the middle of the busiest plaza here in Burgos. So yeah, this man went to the trouble of hunting me down on the internet and messaging me, and we met him this morning, and he returned my wallet to me and everything was in it. There was a lot of cash in it. It was so nice, like so nice. And one of these moments where it's just like the universe the universe reminding me and everyone who watches this that people are good. Most people are good. Like, most people want to help. They want to do the right thing. Lose your wallet in a busy plaza, and there's a good possibility that someone nice is going to pick it up and try to find you and help you. So yeah, it was really, really cool. And Tom's leg is feeling a little bit better too. Okay, I think we're day 17. We had our rest day in Burgos. It was really lovely. We had some really good food, drank some really good wine, and today is just like gorgeous. It's so beautiful out. We're in this area that kind of looks like Central Oregon. If anyone's watching who's been there, it's just like beautiful hills, dry, cool air, but the sun is out. Yeah, it's kind of heavenly today. And we are going to a little town called Hornillos. We had coffee a little while ago with this lovely woman named Rico, who is 80 years old and walking the Camino all by herself. And she made us this awesome little origami frog that I might take a video of later and show you because it was pretty amazing. And magical little moments like that are really what make the Camino. So we found this beautiful little shady spot. We're eating some snacks and sitting here in this really pretty shaded grass. And just a little before this, we stopped at this shrine, and this sweet, wonderful nun, it was a shrine to Mary, and this really wonderful, sweet woman put these necklaces on us to protect us. So it's a little pendant with Mary, and it's for protection for pilgrims. It was really beautiful. Okay, we are on day 17 and we are walking on the Meseta today, which interestingly is probably my favorite part of the Camino so far. We were on it a bit yesterday also, so it reminds me of like high desert, very dry, but with a cool breeze, lots of sun, and just this sort of like very quiet, arid environment. And so what's really interesting is this particular stretch feels very contemplative, very introspective, which I love. I've heard that some pilgrims have a really tough time with this stretch because you're with your thoughts a lot, But for me, that's not a problem. I teach meditation, so. We're walking on a section of the Camino today that is just so quiet. You can hear crickets the whole way, just like your feet and the crickets. It's so gorgeous. So one of the things we've learned on the Camino is always stop and check out little shrines. Always stop and enjoy little beautiful grassy areas. This is so nice. Hopefully you can see. We're gonna go in that. There's a shrine back there. We're gonna go check out, and I will show you what's in there. We haven't looked yet. Coffee in the grass is the best coffee. So we like to start walking before the sun comes up. It's just starting to, but check out our view of the full moon this morning. There she is. And of course, the video doesn't do it justice. It's huge. Here's the full view. There's the moon. And over there, the sun's starting to come up. So something that's been really interesting on the Camino that it just occurred to me today is a lot of my shadow has been coming up to be looked at. But I also realized that the universe, I feel like this is like just kind of a comical little wink from the universe. But I spend a lot of my day actually looking at my shadow, like my actual literal shadow. I'm going to show you. This is the view for a lot of the day. There's my shadow and there's Tom's shadow. Okay, it's day 18 and we are on a rest day in Castro Jerez, and we just hiked up this epic hill to the Castillo, the castle, at the top of the hill over the town. And these ruins are just totally incredible. I'm going to show you the view also. It's insane. Okay, so there's a village in the distance there that I think we're going to be walking to. Yeah, we're the only ones up here. It is amazing. And then I'll show you. This is the view. And down there, there's the church as you come into Castro Jerez. And way down that path, which is the way we walked so far, it'll be hard to see in the video, but there's ruins that I shared yesterday. All right, we are on day 19? I think we're on day 19. We are leaving Castro Jerez and heading to Boadilla El Camino. Anyway, Tom's shin splint has improved a lot, so we are carrying our packs again today. And I just wanted to mention that, bake some time into your Camino, add some extra time to it so that if something comes up, like a shin splint, you can slow way down, you can take some rest days. Because we were able to do that, and because we were able to send our bags forward for a few days, Tom was able to get off that shin and let it heal. And now we can walk again with our packs. And it, you know, it added a couple days, but that's fine. No big deal. It's really beautiful out here this morning. I'm going to just give you a little... The sun is just gorgeous. Today's kind of a rough one on the Camino for me. We're walking into a very strong icy wind. It's not very comfortable walking. And then we're in a section of the Camino where, for whatever reason, they talk about how it's challenging, and I'm definitely experiencing that. Challenging in an emotional sense. I find that as we walk, I have a lot of things coming up that need to be looked at and released, things from my past. And I actually think that's a beautiful thing. It's one of the beautiful things about having all this time walking. But it's challenging, it doesn't feel good. So kind of a rough day on the Camino today, but I know it'll pass. The one thing that's guaranteed in life is change. Good morning. I think we're on day 20 here of the Camino de Santiago. Feeling much better today. We're walking along this beautiful canal. I'm going to take a little video of it for you. There's birds chirping. It's really nice. We stayed in a really nice albergue last night in a town called Boadilla El Camino. The albergue was called El Camino, and it was really a nice one. So that was great. We had a good pilgrim dinner, feeling pretty good this morning. Let's see. Yeah, that's basically the update. We're just in pretty good spirits today, enjoying our walk, and I'll show you the canal. Oh, and while we were walking, Tom spotted a rock that's shaped just like a heart. It's so nice. So I'm going to show you that too. People on the Camino are so sweet. This older man just came up to me. He says, "You're so small. Take this, eat this, it's for you." It's this giant chocolate bar. I mean, I am eating it. I'll show you. See? So nice. Okay, day 22 on the Camino. We're walking to Sahagún, and I want to address the explosion of popularity of the Camino because it's all the talk on the trail right now. And I know in the forums, people are talking about it, the Facebook groups. And what I want to say is it is real. So we started April 15th, and there were, I think I heard like 3 times, 2 times, 3 times, there were way more pilgrims starting from St. Jean April 15th than there were in 2019. And 2019 was a big year for the Camino if you go look at the numbers. And then what we've heard is like a couple weeks ago, there was a day where 500 people showed up in St. John to start in one day. So those 500 people trying to start in one day, there aren't that many beds. There just aren't that many beds. Even if you stretch out into a bunch of villages, So that, I guess, is a real issue. But as far as us starting April 15th, here's how it looks. Basically, if you can get off the main stages, you can probably find a bed without reserving. However, it does get tight. Like yesterday, the place that we stopped, we were off stage and there were only 2 albergues in the village. They closed the municipal albergue, so 35 beds were missing. And so some people did have to go on to the next village that didn't have reservations. Some people waited, and a couple beds ended up being open because people canceled, and those people that waited got beds. So it is a little tricky if you're not reserved. What we've done is we have reserved out about 6 to 7 days. We're keeping our mileage 23 kilometers or under. So, you know, that's manageable mileage. We should be able to do it. We take at least 1 rest day a week. And then if there's a night when we can't get a reservation, which there is one tomorrow, we just leave extra early in the morning and figure we'll probably get a bed. And so far that's been okay. It's worked for us. But I do think that the days of walking the Camino without any reservations, it's doable still, but if you're more than 1 person, it's going to be challenging. So at least this year, if you're planning on doing the Camino, I would recommend making reservations, but make sure that you don't put too much distance in your days. The stages are really hard on people, so be careful. Good morning, day 23 on the Camino. And last night we stayed, oh, there's Tom. Last night we stayed in the most amazing albergue. It was in Shah Agun, and it was called Albergue Santa Cruz. And it was run by a group of, it's a monastery run by monks and nuns. And oh my goodness, it was just amazing. They were so kind, so sweet. It was so clean and beautiful. We went to a pilgrims mass. Now, for the record, I'm not religious, but I find the pilgrim mass is really beautiful. Or we went to a regular mass, and then there was a pilgrim blessing. So after the mass, all the pilgrims come up, and the priest does a blessing for the pilgrims to give us protection to Santiago. It was really beautiful. So anyway, really great one. You should go there. So today, we do not have a reservation. It's the only day we don't have a reservation for the next, I don't know, week or so. And so we are walking to a small town with a donativo albergue that's supposed to be really nice, and just counting on the universe and the Camino to get us a bed. So I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, it worked out. We got a bed. This albergue is really cool. It's like an adobe building with sort of exposed rafter roof. Anyway, I'm going to show you in a second. It's neat. Like, check out this ceiling. So trippy. So the Camino de Santiago is an act of devotion for many people. For many people, it is a Catholic pilgrimage or a Christian pilgrimage. And it's interesting. I've been thinking about the idea of an act of devotion as I walk. And I realized that for me, the Camino de Santiago is an act of devotion to myself. And the thing that is really interesting about that is that an act of devotion to yourself can be so many different things. It can be any time that you are following your intuition, basically trusting your intuition and your higher self to guide you, I think that anytime you do that, that is an act of devotion to yourself and your path. Okay, day 24 on the Camino de Santiago, Camino Francés. We are walking by some cows that I just showed you, and we're heading towards Muxia, which is a suburb of Lyon, which is exciting because there's a number of things I want to see in Lyon, and also Lyon is famous for tapas. Woohoo! Let's see, last night we stayed in a really interesting albergue that I shared a little video of. It was made of adobe, it was basically it was like clay, straw, and rocks made up the walls. Yeah, really nice little municipal, and we did get a bed. We did not have a reservation. Pretty easily got a bed. We even had some empty beds in that albergue at the end of the day. So that bodes well for things not being too overcrowded. I realized yesterday that we are more than halfway there to Santiago, which is pretty wild. So we've walked like 300 miles already? It's kind of crazy. It felt really hard the first week, and then by day 9, we talked about that, it got easier. I'm finding that just the last couple days, it's gotten even more comfortable, sort of just like it's become the normal routine, and we're not quite at day 30 yet. Okay, so we are doing sort of a rest day and a half in Lyon. We took a bus into Lyon, and then we're gonna stay 2 nights so that we can explore. And already it is a really cool city. The owner of our hostel was telling us all of his favorite places to go have tapas, which sound amazing. And yeah, I'm just gonna show you some stuff around Lyon. Okay, we're on a tapas crawl, and it's amazing. I'm going to give you just a little preview of what's happening here. Day 26 is a rest day in Lyon, and as you can see, I am resting. I have my feet up, but we have also seen some really cool things in Lyon, so I'm about to show you some of that. Good morning. It's been a very windy day. You can probably hear the wind in my voice right now. And a tough day walking out of Lyon. There's a lot of sidewalk and road walking, like just on the shoulder of the highway, which is very uncomfortable. So it's been kind of a rough one, but we're almost to our final destination, which is Villar de Mazarin, and I'm sure tomorrow will be nicer Also, we ended up in a really nice albergue that has like a real cool like courtyard, and people have drawn these amazing things all over the walls. I'm going to take some pictures and show you. It's really cool. And we got really lucky tonight, and the albergue gave us a private room for the same price as a dorm room, which is awesome because we don't get them very often. And so it's like a real treat when we get to have a private room and not have to climb into bunk beds. Yay! So we're gonna sleep well, and I'm about to go to bed right now. It's like not even 9 o'clock, but I'm so exhausted. Like, I'm so tired. All right, I think it's day 27. I'll double check that. We are, let's see, we're walking between Villa de Mazarit and Santo Benito, I think is how you pronounce it. And something we've been talking about today that's kind of interesting is how much processing we've been doing on the Camino. I think one of the beautiful things about this long walk is you have very few distractions. Like, you're just kind of walking along all day long, and it allows your mental, emotional, spiritual self to bring things up that need to be looked at, that maybe you've put back in a corner shelf in your mind because it's, maybe too painful to examine. And the Camino, if you allow it, can be an opportunity to let yourself look at these things. Moving painful emotions out is a powerful process. I think emotions are meant to be felt. I'm a big believer in that. And one of the cool things about walking and movement is that moving your body is actually one of the ways that you can process painful emotions. So there's this really powerful opportunity for examination and healing on this walk. And that's aside from the spiritual energy of it. So that's one of the things we've been discussing today, and certainly something that I've been doing on this walk is looking at some things that were in the back corner of my mind that needed to be looked at. Basically the Burning Man camp of the Camino. Any of my Burning Man friends watching, you will totally know what I mean. It's just amazing. There's beautiful places to sit and hang out. You could take a nap. There's a labyrinth. There's all this food and drink and snacks, and just a beautifully curated space for pilgrims to stop and take a rest. Super awesome. Found a swing. Whee! On the Camino. So we are day, I think 28, and we are walking from Santa Banez, I think think that's how I pronounce it, I could be wrong, to Astorga. So it's a short day, but boy, it's a really pleasant stretch of the Camino. There's shrines, there's been just a number of really beautiful spots, beautiful views. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite days of walking so far. All right, I just realized we are day 30 on the Camino. So that makes sense because it definitely feels like regular life now. Something we've run into today, really for the first time at this level of intensity, is sort of a parade of pilgrims. And I think it's a combination of leaving Astorga, which is sort of a choke point. It's a big town everyone stops in. And then the trail is very, very like thin, and so yeah, it's just kind of like as far as the eye can see, this long line of pilgrims. And from what I've heard, this is going to become more and more and more the case as we move forward from here, because we're getting close to the end stretch. See the pilgrims all the way back there, and then I'll show. Day 31 on the Camino, and today has just been a beautiful walk. We also went by Cruz de Ferro, which is a really famous point on the Camino. A lot of people, a lot of pilgrims carry rocks to leave there, and it was pretty emotional for me. I left a little amethyst that has a lot of meaning to me, and it felt like I was leaving behind a phase of my life, actually. It was really powerful. Yeah, and then after that, it's just been these like gorgeous mountain views. We stopped by there's a man who lives all by himself up in the mountains, who's one of the last, or maybe the last, of the Knights Templar. Who knows? But we had a beautiful conversation with him, just a really lovely exchange. So yeah, day 31's been pretty great. Albergue tonight is so pretty. We're in Villa Franca, and the albergue is Albergue El Castillo. I'm going to show you. Look at this garden and this view. Huh. Ah, that's great. Very. Found the river for our feet. It's very, very cold, but our sore feet like it. Day 34 on the Camino, and we took the scenic route today. It was a big hill, well, more than that, more like a mountain, climb up and over a mountain. So almost no one took the route, but it's gorgeous, as I'm sure you're seeing in the pictures and videos I'm sharing today. One of our number one tips on the Camino is always take the scenic route. It's worth it. It's so much quieter. It's beautiful. Sometimes it does add distance and elevation gain, but man, is it pretty. So I had a really beautiful experience on the Camino today that I would like to share with all of you. I did a big climb today up over a mountain pass. So it was 1,800 feet or about 600 meters straight up. It was a tough climb. And when I got near the top, I turned and looked at the view, and I was speechless because what I saw was a place that I've seen many, many times in my meditations that I thought was imaginary. It was basically this beautiful valley vista. And this is a place that comes up for me regularly in my meditations that I thought didn't exist on Earth, that I thought only existed in my imagination, or maybe in another dimension. So it was this powerful moment for me because my intuition has shown me this place so many times, and then it led me step by step to the exact place where this beautiful vista that I regularly experience in meditation, my intuition led me to the exact place on planet Earth where this exists. It was overwhelming. I mean, as you can see, I'm getting emotional talking about it now. I don't know what that means for me and my future, but it felt like such a powerful sign that following your intuition will always steer you right. All right, day 35. That's right. Yeah, really. So today we're going up the big climb. It's the biggest climb, right?
Yeah, I think
it's the biggest climb of the Camino, up to Orsobrero. But here's the thing. If you started in St. Jean, and when you get to this climb, you've gone over 400 miles, and you're strong as hell, honestly. I'm climbing right now.
You're able to talk.
Yeah, I'm climbing right now and making a video. So don't stress too much about this hill if you started in St. John. The people who are really struggling, and it makes total sense, are people who started, like in Astorga or closer to this, because they're just not in the shape of the same people who have been walking for 400 miles, which makes total sense. Day 36. So we are going to Sarria today. I just saw a mile marker. It says we have 125 kilometers until Santiago, the end of the Camino. The whole Camino is 770 something. So we've walked 650 kilometers. It's pretty cool. And then we are actually going to go on from Santiago to the ocean, because in ancient times, when people were walking this, they would go all the way to the ocean because that was considered the end of the world. It was the end of the known world at that time. So we're actually gonna walk an extra few days all the way to the ocean. Okay, we are day 37 on the Camino. Sarria. We left Sarria this morning in a true parade of pilgrims. Hundreds and hundreds of people. All these tour groups come to Sarria and start there because Sarria is only like 113 kilometers from Santiago. And in order to get your Compostela, which is the certificate from the church that you walk the Camino, you have to walk at least 100 kilometers. So a lot of people start at this point so they can get their certificate. So it was pretty wild for us. I'm going to share some video on here of what that looked like. We figured out a strategy to get out of the crowd, because as you see, it's just us right now. Basically, you let the clumps go by, and because they are walking in big tour groups, so they're in big clumps. And then you get a quieter path. Okay, so I also want to talk about food on the Camino. I haven't talked about this much, and last night we had an incredible menu. So here in Spain, the way that a lot of restaurants work is you get like a 3 or 4 course menu at a set price, and that menu includes a bottle of wine, bread, and like 2 or 3 courses, usually a starter, a main, and a dessert. So, and the prices on these are just so affordable, it's insane. Last night we had a menu with this incredible red wine, a plate of grilled garlic king prawns, and then Iberica pork with like mushrooms and potatoes, and flan for dessert. And it was $16 each for that whole meal that took us so long to eat. So it's one of the awesome things on the Camino. So you're burning loads of calories on the Camino, and you're really hungry, of course, but it's really affordable to eat a big, giant meal. And actually 16 euros each for that menu was a splurge. You can usually get what they call a pilgrim menu, which is the same thing, but it's basically made for the pilgrims. Usually there's like some extra carbs in it. And those are usually like 12 euros each. We found a really nice spot to eat our snacks and lunch. I'm going to show you the view. It's like so pretty. So we decided to take the original Camino, which is, they've got a bunch of signs warning you it's really difficult. It's not that difficult, but it's really cool because it's an old ancient road. Say hi. You're on video.
The last video of Tom.
Down we go. All right, so day 38, I did not do a video. Day 38 kicked my butt, but I did have some really interesting, energetic, sort of spiritual experiences. So yesterday, I had this really interesting experience. We were walking, and I had a really rough day yesterday. I was feeling just really off. It wasn't a difficult physical day, but energetically, like something was going on. And as we walked, I kept having these, the best way I could describe it is visions. I was having these visions of women being burned alive. And I don't know a lot about the history of the area we're in, but my partner, he's kind of a history buff. And so finally, after like this happening over and over again for hours, I turned to Tom and I was like, did they burn witches here? And he was like, yeah, they burned a lot of witches here. And what I realized is we're walking on a ley line. So we're basically walking along an energetic power line. That's one way of putting it. And it makes sense to me that along this line, there would have been people harnessing that energy. And then when the divine feminine started being suppressed in a huge way, it would, it makes sense that there was a lot of that happening here. So once I realized that I think I was doing maybe some healing for some of my ancestors, maybe versions of myself in past lives. I obviously have a strong connection to this place and to this walk. So we stopped at this really beautiful, ancient, like church / shrine, and I did a little ritual and lit a candle for all of these women who were murdered, and it seemed to help. After that, I did some crying as we walked, and it kind of felt like all that energy kind of moved through me. So it was really interesting, though. It was another one of those moments where it was like, I wonder if yesterday and my connection to those women is another one of the reasons why my intuition brought me here to do this walk. I don't know, a lot of things seem to be coming together here towards the end of the journey, getting some clarity around my purpose here. Interested to see how things unfold over the next week. Okay, so day 39. We are getting off stage today for the last few days into Santiago, which we're very happy about because there's a lot of people. And one of the things that we ran into last night that was really frustrating is there are a lot of people who only walk the Camino for a week, which is totally fine, but they don't seem to understand albergue etiquette. Albergues are the dorm rooms that pilgrims sleep in, and there's some really important etiquette to make sure that everyone has a good experience and everyone gets enough sleep and the sleep they need, because people walk at different times, right? So, albergue etiquette 101, here we go. Okay, 1. In the evening, people go to bed really early. Some people will get in bed at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, because some people start walking at like 5 a.m. because some people's natural schedules get them up that early. So if there is anyone in bed when you go into an albergue, be quiet, whisper, unpack your things as quietly as possible. If you want to take a phone call, if you want to have a conversation, go into a hallway or a common area in the albergue. Don't do it in the dorm. 2, same thing goes in the morning. In the morning, if you are that person who wakes up at 5 a.m., we've been those people sometimes we feel like it, then be very, very quiet. The trick here is to pack up your bag the night before, for the most part, and then quietly grab your things and finish packing in a common area or a hallway. Do not turn the lights on. Do not talk to each other if you can help it. If you need to, do it in a way. Basically, if you think of the actual dorm bedrooms where the beds are as a space that is only for sleeping, then you'll do fine, because that's going to mean that you'll always be relatively quiet in there. If you get into the albergue at 3 p.m. and no one's in bed, then you can unpack as loudly as you want, of course. But most of the time, that's not what happens. And so, yeah, the room with the beds is for sleeping, whether it's for napping, whether it's for going to bed early, it is for sleeping. And respecting that is a big part of being a pilgrim. Those are frogs making that noise. Beautiful walking today. I'm going to show you this forest we're walking through. Okay, so I think we figured out the trick to the stretch between Sarria and Santiago. You want to make your days shorter, take more days, do shorter days, and stay off stage, and then leave late in the morning, because all the big groups leave around like 8 o'clock. And so if you sleep in and leave like 8:30, you won't have that far to go because you're doing shorter distances. And you want to stay off the main, don't stay in the towns that are the main stages in the books, which I've talked about before. But that's extra important on this stretch. But we have this stretch almost completely to ourselves. We've seen almost no one else in a while. It's really, really cool. So this is a good trick. I'm also going to show you this amazing, super friendly horse that like ran over for pets when we walked by. It was so cute. This is like the friendliest horse I've ever seen. Just ran over to get pets. We're on day 41, but we had some problems with the upload yesterday for day 40, so it might be lost. I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can retrieve the video. But basically what I talked about yesterday was just that these last 100K from Sarria to Santiago, we seem to have figured out the solution, because yesterday we walked 20 kilometers, we were between stages, and we saw almost no one. Like, we had the trail completely to ourselves multiple times. It was very, very cool. And so I think that is the trick if you really want a quiet walk still from that last 100 kilometers from Sarria to Santiago. Then get off the stages and walk shorter distances. So break it up into more days. So worth it though, because it is a beautiful trail, and having it almost all to ourselves has been really, really special. So for example, we're 18 kilometers from the cathedral in Santiago, and look at the trail. It's just us. It's crazy. And I mean, there's a few people here and there, but like, it's kind of amazing. And what time is it? It's like late morning, I want to say right now. So it might be like 10:30 or 11. I can't look because I'm making a video, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, seriously, guys, look at this. There's Tom.
Hi.
And there's the Camino. It's amazing. We're having such a nice quiet walk in the woods to Santiago. We're on a really cool stretch of the Camino right here. I'm gonna just show you. We're about 16 kilometers from Santiago here. So we are on our second to last day of the official Camino de Santiago. We will reach Santiago tomorrow morning, and as I'm walking today, I'm just contemplating, like, wow, this has been like 500 something miles, 770 kilometers, but more than that, just like this incredible experience of just being with my body for a long period of time, being with myself with very little distraction for a long period of time. I feel more connected. And it's interesting, I've been logically aware of the fact that our body is one of the main portals to our intuition, but I feel like I'm embodying that now. Yeah, one of the things that I realized as I walked the Camino is that I have been really holding back as far as sharing my channeling abilities and some of my spiritual gifts, which is so funny because obviously, you know, I'm a pretty openly spiritual person, but still there's been this fear that's been holding me back. And that fear seems to have just dissolved as I walked the Camino. It's just gone. So we have had such amazing weather on this Camino. We've been so lucky. We only had 2 days of rain. The first day it rained, and then we had 1 day of rain in the middle, and that was it. Okay, day 42. It is our final morning on the official Camino Francais of the Camino de Santiago, and we are probably about 8 kilometers from the cathedral in Santiago, which is the end point. Yeah, just taking our time, walking slow. I'm feeling really good about it. I'm feeling like I'm going to be unpacking the lessons learned for a while. But already I'm feeling a lot of clarity as we get towards our end point here. And we are going to continue for several days to the ocean. We're going to go to Muxia. Finisterre is the more popular point, but what we're going to do is we're going to walk to Muxia on the ocean, and then there's a Camino down to Finisterre from there that we're probably going to do as well. Oh, and it's not raining. It's actually really beautiful. Day 44 on the Camino. So day 42, we reached Santiago. Yesterday we took a rest day in Santiago, and today we are on our way to Muxia. So there are 2 coastal towns that you can continue the Camino onto if you want to go to the ocean: Muxia and Finisterre. And Finisterre is by far the more popular one to visit. Most people bus or drive. Most people don't keep walking. But what we're going to do is we're going to walk to Muxia, and then from Muxia there's a 30-kilometer coastal trail south to Finisterre. So we're going to walk that as well. And then from Finisterre, we'll bus back. Hey, look, there's a snake. Snake. Hi, snake. There he goes. Okay, that was a rubber boa snake. Smallest of the boa constrictors, according to Tom. He was pretty cute. We walked right over him. So, let's see. What has changed? Walking to Muxia. Well, it's very well marked, so that's nice. And the weather has shifted pretty dramatically. So it's very humid. Pretty warm, but well, pretty humid. I mean, relatively compared to where we were walking. And so it's like kind of a warmer walk. And we're in this kind of like temperate rainforest kind of thing. It's really cool, which makes sense because this is a coastal mountain range we're walking through now. Yeah, so I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated on how this walk to the coast goes. We're really looking forward to reaching the end of the world.
Okay, day 46 on the way to Muxia on the coast from Santiago. I did not do a video yesterday, day 45, because yesterday kicked my butt. And it was a combination of things. It was a lot of uphill. It was just really tricky. Oh, I'm coming up on a pretty thing. Let me show you a video and then I'll continue. Okay, so what was up with yesterday? Let's see. Well, there's a lot of elevation gain and loss because we're in the coastal range, but there was a lot of that on the main Camino too. I think, honestly, it felt like some of the stuff that's come up on the Camino, the emotional stuff, I think I talked in a few of my videos about how one of the beautiful things about the Camino is that I've had a chance to look at things that have been filed away in the back of my mind for a while because they're just too hard to look at in the everyday. And so processing some heavy emotional stuff. And it felt like all of that was kind of coming up for final processing yesterday. So it was just a big day, physically, emotionally. But what's nice today is that I find myself experiencing some new levels of clarity. Like some of what came up yesterday seems to have sort of processed through, and I have some new understanding of myself, some new understanding of the ways that I have been interacting with the world, and some shifts in how I'm going to be doing that. And I'm seeing some new ways that I want to interact with the world. So that's really cool. I know that's all vague, but it's all highly personal stuff that wouldn't be very relevant to share in this video. But it's powerful. I think the moral of the story here is that the Camino really does help you process big stuff. I don't know how it works. It's magic. So I want to talk a little bit about the people that you meet on the Camino. I have a very strong belief that there are certain people, certain souls, certain energies in this world that we are meant to intersect with. And the Camino seems to be a place where those intersections can happen, right? I mean, there's anywhere in life they can happen. But there's something really magical. And my experience has been that I've met actually several people that I have a sense that there's like a soul connection there, that we were meant to meet, that there's some sort of purpose for each other in each other's lives. All right, day 47. We will arrive at the ocean today in Muxia. And you guys, we have had the most insane luck with the weather on this whole Camino. So the whole Camino, we had 2 days of rain the whole entire time. It's the only time we had to use our ponchos. And then we were supposed to have pouring rain from like Santiago to the ocean. I mean, the forecast was just like thunderstorms, rain, and every single day it has not rained until we get to our albergue. And some days it hasn't rained at all. And today it's like gorgeous. I'm going to take a bunch of videos today, but it's like we're on our way to the ocean. It's like there's blue sky and the sun is like shining on everything. And it's just glorious. I just can't believe how lucky we've been with the weather. We just got our first glimpse of the ocean. Wow, look at this. Okay, I reached the ocean, the Spanish Ocean, yesterday, which means that I walked from the mountains in France all the way across the entire country of Spain to the ocean, which feels insane to me and amazing. Walking like this has connected me so deeply with my body. And our body is such a powerful way that our intuition communicates with us. Probably the most powerful way, actually. And I think so often when we're talking about intuition, and I'm totally guilty of this, we get lost in like the fun intuitive hits or experiences, right? What feel fun, the things that we hear, the visions we have. But the truth is, potent information comes through your body and listening to your body. And I think that's like the piece of my intuition that I was not as connected to. And I didn't even know it until I spent all of this time just being with my body. Morning. We are day 48. On the Camino de Santiago. Today we are going from Muxia to a town called Lyres, which is down the coast halfway between Muxia and Finisterre, because it's a 30-kilometer walk from Muxia to Finisterre. Most people do it in one day, but what we've learned about a walk that long is that you feel rushed, it's hard to enjoy what you're seeing, and the weather, it's like a perfectly blue sky without a cloud, you guys. It's amazing. So we're going to really enjoy our time along the ocean here. And so we're going to break it up into two 15-kilometer days, which by our standards now, 15 kilometers is pretty short. So it's going to give us plenty of time to sightsee and enjoy the view. So we finished the Camino, the full, all the way Camino yesterday. And what I mean by that is we, in total, went from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in France to Santiago to Muxia on the coast. And then we walked down the coast from Muxia to Finisterre. And we are done. The final walk yesterday was really powerful. I was doing a lot of introspection. There was a lot of clarity coming through about my next steps in every area of my life. I've rarely experienced clarity at this level. In fact, the only time I can remember experiencing this much clarity was when I finished my cancer treatment. I just can't believe. I mean, I knew how powerful this walk was. It's ancient. It's been done for thousands and thousands of years, probably longer than we even realize. But I am still really impressed by the clarity that I received from doing this. But I did take some pictures and some videos of the walk to Finisterre, and when we got to the end of the world, which is this point at the very farthest point out into the ocean at Finisterre, it was completely foggy and like cold, and it was eerie. It was really cool. It felt like the end of the world. And I did take a little video, which I'm going to share here so that you can see that. All in all, it took us 49 days to do that entire Camino. So 7 weeks. And I feel very complete with that pace. I'm in incredible physical shape. And I feel like I got to see and do and experience everything that I wanted at a comfortable pace.